What up guys, Sweats and Clank from Point Blank Music School here in Los Angeles. Today we're gonna do something fun and we are gonna record this drum kit with an iPhone. Then we're gonna take those samples and go process them, chop them up, see if we can make them sound good, see if we can get anything usable. Recording with phones is actually really fun. Everyone has a phone. Everyone has the possibility to record not just these drums if you don't have drums, but make your own samples using pots, pans, doors closing, your own claps, anything like that. These are all things you can use and you don't need an expensive microphone or an expensive interface or anything like that to get simple and cool sounds, which you can then process later on. So the first thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna have my man Jordan, who's a much better drummer than me. He's gonna jump on, he's gonna do the heavy lifting, and I'm gonna record him playing at different positions with the phone. In front, up above, behind. After that, we are going to record some one-shots. So meaning single hits of individual drums so we can chop those up and make our own drum kits as well. Couple things to remember when you're using a phone to record. Number one, you probably want to remove the case. A lot of times the case might be slightly blocking the microphone or dirty, you know, whatever. So you want to remove the case and then you probably want to clean those mics just a little bit on the back end, take a Q-tip or blow in it. Secondly, phones can record in stereo audio and in mono audio. So depending on your application and what you need, you may want to record some things in stereo and other things in mono. For instance, if I hold the phone in horizontal mode and record video, it's going to be stereo audio. Whereas if I use the voice notes application on iPhone and go vertical like this, I'm going to get mono audio. So let's say I want to record just the kick drum as a one shot, likely going to record that in mono, right? If I want to record Jordan playing from overhead, I'm going to use a stereo image and thus use video to capture stereo. So let's jump in, should be fun. Hey, let's put a towel on the snare and deaden it a little bit. Now that we recorded Jordan playing some breaks, we're actually going to record some one-shots as well. We're going to go around, I've got the phone right here, he's going to give me some one-shots on each of these drums, and we're going to do them at a couple different velocities so that we have various things we can use, meaning like soft, a little harder. These are going to be one-shots, so I'm going to actually use voice memos in the iPhone because I'm going to record these in mono. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so we're back. I've gone ahead and taken all the recordings we did with my phone of Jordan on the drums and I've airdropped them to this computer. I've also done the dirty work of going and chopping everything up so you didn't have to sit through and watch me do it. What I've done is taken our first voice memo recordings, which were in mono, and dropped them all on individual pads of a drum rack so I could have the individual drum hits each on their own pad. Here's me asking Jordan to give me a hi-hat. All right, cool. Give me a hi-hat. So basically I've chopped all these up and now we've got kick, kick 2, hi-hat 1, hi-hat 2, hi-hat 3, snare 1, snare 2, little ride ping. All right, cool. There's me again, open hat, and the toms. I've had to do some processing on this a little bit and I wanted to keep it simple, not to go too much into a mixing aspect in this video, but just to show you that you can do this not only if you don't have a drum set, but if you want to just use, you know, banging on the desk or pots and pans or make your own claps, things like that. You really don't need that much stuff to make it sound good enough for use. The iPhone tends to record really well in the mid-range, but it lacks a lot in the low end, as we would expect. High end can be a bit bright and harsh as well, so I've gone and tamed some of that high end, and I've also gone to make up some of that low end by doing some extra trickery. My drum kit for these one-shots actually sounds pretty nice. Check it out. Let me show you what I've done to these drums to make them sound this way because I had to do a little bit of work on them. Here's the kick, how it came out. Pretty shy of any low end. So what I've done is gone and add a very subtle sub layer underneath it that sounds like this. It's in the key of F, real short. Our kick by itself had nice transient, great tone, but needed a little low end. So here's the sub by itself, here's the kick by itself, here they are together. For the snares, I also went and took 2 different snares and stacked them on top of each other in the drum rack just to get a little more punch, a little more feel. And to be honest, I haven't really used any EQ on any of these. Didn't have the time and wanted to see how far I could go with minimal processing. The one thing I will tell you though is I did use some transient shaping. I'm using a Native Instruments transient master here, both on the kick and on the snare. Works really well for these kind of things because it allows you to punch the attack forward, play with the sustain a bit, and also has a limiter so that you're not clipping. At the end of my drum rack chain is just a simple drum bus, driving the drive about 29%, adding about 21% boom in the key of A sharp, I think. Like I said, haven't gone too much into all that. There's so many things that can make you have original sounds that no one else will have. So instead of relying on stock sounds or having to buy all kinds of packs, it's really possible with a phone to make sounds that you can chop, mangle, and create as your own original sounds. No one else will have them. So, all right, cool. So I got all my sounds. You heard them individually. Now let me just try to play a beat real quick and we'll record it and see if we can make something out of that. Cool. Recorded that. So now that I've got this drum beat going, I wanted to show you also, I've been loving Universal Audio's Electric 88 Rhodes plugin. So I made a chord progression here with some pretty complex chords, and I'll be honest, I'm not the greatest keyboard player. So I went and did the chords one by one. Hey, no hard feelings because it came out real nice. These are nice complex chords. Let me show you what they sound like. Next, I went and sampled myself on a little synth with an Arp, and I also used a little sax sample. Here's what those sound like together. Lastly, let's jump real quick to Jordan's drum loops that I recorded in stereo with the camera portion rather than in mono with the voice memo. I'll be honest with you, they don't sound as good and they're gonna need a lot more work. Let's run through and just play a couple of them to the same music that I was just writing. As you can hear, they're just not as fat sounding, right? They will need more processing, but they still sound cool, pretty lo-fi. Let me show you what I did. I did do a little bit of processing on these. The first thing I did is I built a mid-side EQ because when you record in stereo, you're gonna capture low end in the sides or in the stereo image. And really we don't want anything lower than 120 hertz or so in that stereo image. So I've gone and used a mid-side EQ to remove that out of the sides, as you can see here. And I've also gone and boosted some of the low end, whatever was there, in the middle. I've got a saturator going, I've got a drum bus going, I've also loaded some convolution reverb like a drum chamber just for some light air, real short reverb. I'm using, again, Transient Designer to kind of boost that, and then I'm using some dynamic EQ here just to cut a little bit of that harsh highs that are coming through that iPhone microphone. And again, I really didn't spend too much time on this. I focused more on the one-shots, but it is possible to get some nice loops in stereo with a little bit more processing. And again, I would probably experiment a little bit more with my positioning, but lesson of the day, honestly, the one-shots is the way. My name is Sweats and Clank. Want to thank y'all for joining me. I teach here at Point Blank Los Angeles. If you're into production, if you're into music, check us out at pointblankmusicschool.com. Subscribe, like, and also grab your free drum sample pack in the description below. Peace.